Hello and welcome everybody to the MTG Paper Legacy Discord's Tuesday night fight night. I am PresBOTW, joined here in the booth by McDiff. How's it going today?
Doing it, rocking it, killing it.
That's good.
We're here. We're, ow, that hurt actually, because I got the vaccine in that arm yesterday.
Don't hurt yourself now.
Public service announcement: if you haven't gone out and gotten your vaccine yet, do that. Do the thing.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, I'm super excited for this one today. We have, for round one here, we got Ziggurox on Grixis control, and then we got Gelati on 2-card Monte, which is super sweet. So
It's so sick.
Yeah. So for anyone who doesn't know, 2-card Monte is basically a generalized term for any deck that has, at least as far as I'm aware, is any deck that has specifically like 2 to 4, maybe even 5 different A plus B combo deck or combos in the deck.
We got
anything.
Painter Grindstone.
Yes.
We got
Leyline Helm.
Yeah, Leyline Helm. We got LED Echo, which is spicy and sweet. We got Depth's Thespian Stage. Is that it?
I do not see Karn in here, no. But even then, having like this deck is very similar to the deck Death DETH, which is Depth's Tendrils Helm. However, this one also plays the Painter Grindstone combo, which is hilarious in it. So
and we did see a pregame Leyline, which is do we see a turn? No, we're not seeing a turn one Helm, but
no,
that
hilariously
would have been too spicy.
If those Lotus Petals could have cast a Vampire Hexmage, and then the oh wow, what a hand! If those had cast a Vampire Hexmage and that swamp was a Dark Depths, that would have been a turn 2 attack with Merit Lage.
Yeah.
But, this Leyline's actually doing some work here. Grixis controls a deck that's often relied on the graveyard for the Gurmag Anglers and the Snapcaster Mages.
Well, and then in this list, we also have the Kolaghan's Command, which, the forever leaning on the infinite Baleful Strix blockers that Kolaghan's Command can provide you.
Exactly. Wow.
Ripped off the top.
This seems pretty all right. Yeah, cast that Brainstorm.
What main deck answers does Ziggurox have?
One
Triumph.
On his Triumph, and I think an Angrass Rampage, and I think that's it.
Yep.
Oh, 2 Jace the Mind Sculptor as well. But even then, Jace the Mind Sculptor doesn't stop the attack.
Yeah. Also, that's 4 mana.
Yeah. And we're going to fetch here. So, man, this is nuts. So, I think that's the thing that's so cool about 2-card Monte is the fact that it's literally just, it's an A plus B combo deck, but it's not a deck like, say, Sneak Attack or whatever else where it's just stop the sneak attack and then they can't get part B out. In this case, it's like, okay, so there's a Painter, there's a Leyline, there's a Thespian Stage, there are 3 part A's, now I have 3 part B's to deal with.
Sorry, I'm just seeing Tensai's comment here in the chat. Gelati obviously not a combo player.
Yeah.
I don't know what would have ever brought you to that conclusion there, Tensai, but
yeah. Of note, though, Ziggurox actually getting the exact card needed, the Baleful Strix here.
Certainly does buy a turn.
Yes. Yeah, that is definitely exactly what a Channel Fireball is supposed to do, is dome your opponent for 20.
Well, the forever problem of I don't actually own a Merit Lodge token because normally people just scoop to it.
Yeah, exactly. That is a very valid point.
I do, because nobody ever scoops to it when it's me.
Angrass Rampage. So we did happen to get it there. Okay, so this one's partially out. That being said, though, now, Gelati is 1 mana off of just going Helm dead. Here's the 5 mana.
Do gotta find it
swamps. Though. Yes, that is the thing. However, and that's just it too. Is Ziggurox is probably not. Well, they're probably suspecting Helm with a main deck ley line. But you know what else would be hilarious?
I didn't realize that there was also the tendrils in here as well.
Oh yeah, there's the tendrils as well. Oh my goodness, this is also Storm. Ooh. Oh my goodness. Oh, I mean, if you're playing Echo of Aeons, yeah. Ill-Gotten Gains. 3 copies of Ill-Gotten Gains. Yes, this is a Storm deck. My goodness. Smash for 1. First blood on Gelati there. I actually... Ooh.
Best Liliana.
This is a very good Liliana. Very good. That being said, though, I don't think... Well, outside of Vampire Hexmage, which Vampire Hexmage just immediately sacrifices to kill the Liliana anyway, because that she's just going to uptick to kill it.
The impending doom of a Liliana ultimate, though, is incredibly threatening.
Yes, more Baleful Strix.
There are very few occasions that a Liliana -7 does not just win.
Exactly. And that's actually one of the things I really like about Grixis Control is the fact that it's, using Liliana here as a good way to try and actually leverage a win. This Thoughtseize is actually not bad.
See a brainstorm.
So we're gonna hide it then. Yeah. I would imagine more than likely this Thoughtseize is going to resolve. More than likely, unless Ziggurox has pure gold in hand. In which case, then it's probably worth 2 for 1ing yourself.
Yeah, so it feels real bad to force or to force a Thoughtseize, right? Because you just kind of have to hope that opponent's gonna take the counter spells anyway.
Yeah. Of note here too, actually, this Leyline of the Void doing a ton of work because none of these cards in exile will shuffle back in if Gelati gets an Echo of Aeons.
Yeah. Also, Liliana does have and then we're seeing a Snapcaster Mage, which doesn't do anything for you right now.
No, but he's still just getting it out of hand there. Okay, so
Helm is not resolving. Right? Oh, okay.
I actually don't mind taking the force there either, just because that you're going to have to jam still a bunch of cards through here, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know what Gelati's got in hand there. It could be potentially that he was making sure that the coast was clear to get a Helm in. But if that's the case, then he's got to make sure that not both counterspells are there. So crashing in for 4 and then an uptick on this Liliana here. So we're actually getting very, very close.
Oliver, if a deck were to do it, it would be... Okay, it was an Urborg. Yeah. I can see not playing that.
Yeah.
Oliver, if a deck were to do 7 mana Gurmag, it would be Grixis. Absolutely.
Yeah, that is true.
And Beyond Sadistic, who is MTG Paper Legacy in the chat, not as bad as Thoughtseize into Veil of Summer. Tensai, we know you hate Leyline mainboard, bud.
Yeah, this Ponder now coming down.
Is it worse than main Surgical? Or am I the only one that's crazy enough to do that?
I think it depends a lot, but this Liliana is going to hit 7 here, which is really rough. Smash for 4. This is going to put Gelati to 8. Ugh. And then this is going to uptick to 7. So Liliana, 90% sure is going to be alting immediately next turn.
Yeah, you don't mess around with an uptick when there's nothing that it hits.
The emblem on Liliana is specifically Liliana the Last Hope is so good that basically all you want to do is just there's no amount of value you would gain by trying to get an emblem and keep her around. It's just make the emblem as soon as you can, Because if you uptick and then your opponent draws a removal spell for you, will feel so bad.
Yeah, so we're gonna see Gelati just pick him up there, which, can't blame him.
No.
So talking about sideboards, let's talk about Gelati's first. We got 2 Fatal Push, 4 Hymn to Torok, 3 Phyrexian Obliterator, 2 Pithing Needle, 3 Plague Engineer, and a Deluge. I mean, there's a lot of juicy targets in this sideboard for this matchup.
Yeah, I agree. I actually super like Phyrexian Obliterator, honestly. There are some forms of sacrifice removal, but otherwise a lot of the form of removal will be damage-based via Kolaghan's Command or Lightning Bolt. And you do not want to ever do damage to a Phyrexian Obliterator.
Yeah.
So I could totally see bringing those in.
But, like, Fatal Push is, almost the whole deck's worth of targets. Hymn to Torok is honestly just not bad in this matchup.
I like him a lot.
Phyrexian Obliterator feels really good. Pithing Needle, we saw Planeswalkers, which...
Yeah, I'm not the hugest fan of Pithing Needle, actually. We did see an Angrass Rampage, and if we put them on Grixis control, we know for sure there are Kolaghan's commands. So the Needle seems kind of weak, but at the same time, I could also see if you're desperate enough to answer to bring it in, I think you could.
I also really like Plague Engineer, though, because this is going to be a potentially slow matchup.
Yeah.
And just naming that on anything and forcing your opponent to deal with it.
Yeah.
And then, so I like Engineer, I like Obliterator, I like him, I like Fatal Push. I'd be really interested to see what Gelati brings in because, I'm not an expert in their decks, so.
No, exactly. As far as which package to cut, though, I'm not entirely sure which one you'd do.
I feel like Painter Grindstone is going to be a hard one to resolve.
Yeah, especially with them both being one-ofs. I think that's probably an easy cut. As much as that hurts me.
I kind of wouldn't mind taking the IgG Tendrils package out for Hymns and Fatal Pushes.
I think that actually also sounds reasonable too. I think your Depths and your Leyline Helm are probably going to be what you want to be doing in this matchup.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, we see Champagne in the chat agreeing with me here. Thanks for Champagne for backing me up.
Yeah.
For Zigglurocks, we got 1 Liliana the Last Hope, 1 Narset Parter Veils, 1 Ashiok Dreamrender, 1 Blue Elemental Blast, 1 Flusterstorm, 1 Null Rod, 1 Red Elemental Blast, 2 Blood Moon, 2 Plague Engineer, 2 Surgical Extraction, 2 Pyroblast.
So this one's really hard. I would definitely bring in probably the second Lily of the Last Hope or additional copies of it because of how good that card is just in general, especially against a slower, not aggressive black deck. I don't know, Ashiok. I don't think Ashiok would be very good here given that there's no fetch lands that we've seen so far.
I mean, Null Rod comes in.
Yes,
Slam.
absolutely. Yeah, if you suspect there's a Helm coming in at all, you absolutely bring Null Rod in, I agree.
Which, I mean, you have to if you see game 1 Leyline.
Yeah.
That's could be a potential really good juke, but if I see a turn or a game 1 Leyline, I'm just assuming that there is, even if there isn't, because it's not worth playing that game.
Yeah, exactly. Other than that, I could potentially see some value in the Surgical, given that there is a Dark Depths package, but at the same time,
And we saw the Infernal Tutor, but that doesn't necessarily scream. It does kind of scream Storm combo, but not. It could just be a deck that empties its hand really well.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I do agree. I think the Surgicals have marginal value. I think the Null Rod is a slam dunk. Other than that, though, I mean, I think the Liliana, the last hope. When you're playing a deck that's got main ley lines, they're, do you cut a certain number of like the Kolaghan's commands?
I think I'd rather cut Gurmag Anglers over the Kolaghan's commands.
Could
be. I could also see Gurmag still being a good card to keep in, though, just in the event that they don't have exactly that ley line. I don't know.
Yeah.
I could also see the not bring. I could see cutting the Kolaghan's command, but that card's so good, though.
The Cling to Dust has to come out, right?
I'd imagine so. Because again, in this particular matchup, you're not actively hurting one specific card in the graveyard. You're probably looking to remove all copies of that card. Yeah, I'd imagine if you do cut Cling, it'd probably be for a card like Ashiok, and as Champagne mentions there, or, the Surgical, I think, would also be a good one to hit too.
Yeah.
So, looks like Gelati's on a mulligan to... Okay, so Ziggurox is on a mulligan to 6, and then Gelati's on a mulligan to 5 right now? Okay.
I mean, if you're playing one of these, like, every card is part of a combo decks, you gotta mull until you see part of a combo, right?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, and Beyond Sadistic bringing up this deck probably mulligans really badly. Yeah, I bet it does.
I mean, as someone who plays a lot of mono black, there aren't a ton of mono black lists that do mull well.
Yeah.
Not a lot of card selection and card draw in mono black lists.
No. Well, in this particular case here, you could even have, okay, I got the ley line but no helm, and then you mulligan, and now you got, a grindstone and no painter, and it's just like, oh. Weave Stacker, thank you very much for the follow. Much appreciated. Thanks for hanging out tonight. So this is a game where we did not get the turn 1 ley line.
But we're seeing the exact same start.
Yeah.
Of Swamp, Petal.
And are we going Hex Mage? Sweet stuff. And then, so now the other thing too is this Hex Mage, Ziggurox is probably going to try and kill it immediately. I'd imagine so.
Yeah. It's a really profitable blocker, as well as part of a combo, as well as removes all of your planeswalkers.
Yes,
it is a threat for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I totally don't blame Ziggurox at all for just immediately shooting it, especially because if this is a Dark Depths that comes down, there's nothing that Zig can do in response.
No land drop.
That's bad.
Yeah. This is absolutely a mana hungry deck.
Yes. Hymn to Turok.
Oh, that's rough.
Discards 2 cards. Oh no, he drew a ley line. Oh.
And Infernal Tutor was the other card.
Ow. Yeah, we're gonna crack it again.
Second Hex Mage.
Second Hex Mage. Yuck. Ooh, this is a
Bear, I hope
it
gets to do the thing as well.
Yeah, I think we're gonna be kind of low on action here going forward, though. Is this an upkeep, shoot the... Oh, this is discard. And I'd imagine do 2 damage. Oh, 2 damage to Gelati? Oh, no, hits the Hex Mage. Okay. Yeah, I figured that's what was going on. Yeah, and K command is going to be very hard, for sure.
This is what Grixis Control wants to do.
Absolutely. This is Grixis Control doing Grixis Control things. This deck is very powerful.
Playing to the hand hate, playing small threats to the board, until you have the opportunity to play absolutely huge threats to the board like Jace and Gurmag Angler.
Yeah. I agree. Baleful Strix, absolute house in this deck too. Oof, man, there's a lot of stuff going on Ziggurat's side, and then Gelati's just kind of, and now we're at least up to 2 lands, so that's good.
Yeah, Champagne agreed.
Yeah, that's where him hurts a lot. So,
Him to
oh,
Torok.
now we're up
Confirmed
to 5
good
mana.
Magic card.
Yep. Up to 5 mana, cast Jace. Oof. Of note, too, this is both Vampire Hexmage is gone already.
I think you just immediately start Fate Sealing here.
If I was in Ziggurat's position, I agree. 100%, I would just start upticking immediately. Your opponent's hellbent on 2 lands, and they've drawn nothing. Just uptick. Start right now.
Make sure there's plenty of lands on top.
Yeah. And we are exactly going to do that right now. Start upticking immediately. And
yeah,
yep, you can have that.
Yeah, that Jace is big game here.
Absolutely. This is not the position you want to be in when your opponent has a Jace as an empty board and an empty hand. This is where JTMS really shows how powerful he is.
Turns out Jace still a good Magic card.
Yes, I agree.
Even after the fire design of the last couple of years.
Ooh.
Now, this is an interesting one. I almost feel like you let this one... It depends. Obviously, it depends on what Ziggurat has in hand. But it does nothing for Gelati's game plan. Yeah, so we're going to see it go back on top. I'd rather lose 2 cards in my hand than give the opportunity for Gelati to have anything that is useful here.
I agree. And the other thing too is Ziggurat could even have like a Force of Negation and just cash it in. Right? Or just discards a Fatal Push in a Badlands, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, Ziggurat's deck is going to top deck a lot better, especially given that he's controlling Gelati's top deck.
Yeah, you can have that. Especially because you can't cast it yet either. Yeah, that Jace is not at the right loyalty. Yeah, it should be at 9, not 10 right now. There we go. Perfect. One of the joys of having a table spotter. Thank you, Chaotic Bear, and also thank you, Beyond Sadistic, for keeping an eye on that stuff. Smash for 2 again. Man, these birds have been doing work these past 2 games.
I mean, Gelati milking for camera time, but in the words of a truly really good Grixis control player, Reed Duke, what does conceding do for you that playing it out doesn't?
Yeah, exactly. Well, you're on stream anyway, so
I'm just always a fan of playing it out.
Exactly.
Prez, I've played some really grueling and horrible matches for me that have I knew I was going to lose starting on turn 2, but we went to turn 20 anyway.
Yeah. Of note here as well, with the Phyrexian Obliterator on top, Ziggurat's just going to let Gelati have it. Because again, it does no good, and you're not at 4 lands yet. Another thing of note too is that if Ziggurat's really needed to, I think with this Jace ticking up to 13 this turn is not going to matter. But even then, if the Phyrexian Obliterator does get deployed, you just bounce it with Jace, and then off you go.
That does put an entirely different time limit for Ziggurat, though, because you do have to bounce Obliterator, multiple times.
Stage. Hilariously, Stage does not cast Obliterator.
Yeah.
Stage does cast Leyline of the Void, but at this point, you could not care less. I'd still just let the Stage stay myself.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're
like, I think the other thing too is the fact that you know, there is no, like, we know what's in hand. There's a Leyline of the Void in hand and a Phyrexian Obliterator in hand, and so when this Jace ultimates, it's gonna end up basically leaving those two cards which do nothing on top.
yeah.
Not only that, but these birds can also fly over it as well. Ziggurat is at the point where there's so many permanents in play. You know, especially with these birds having death touch, that they can just block the Obliterator, kill it and then only have to lose one additional permanent because they're not actually doing 5 damage to it. Smash in with the birds again. Cast a Brainstorm.
Yeah, no, Doc is the same way. I know he's not willing to pack it in. But to be fair, Doc, that game that we played until 3 a.m. the other day, it was unclear who was winning.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Or you can just do this. Or you can just do this and then make it so that with the Jace ultimate is just straight up lethal.
Yeah. Yeah, that is quite a, well, I guess you can't call it a rip when Brainstorm
set that up, but even then, so this is just going to be an immediate minus 12 on Jace, and this is going to completely exile Gelati's library, having no cards left, and Gelati will draw to death. So that's going to wrap it up. Ziggurat is going to take this down in 2 very decisive games. That's kind of unfortunate that the 2-card Monte deck didn't actually fire, given how sweet it is. But,
yeah, I was really hoping to see some of these. I mean, you know, both Prez and I are Painter fans. And I would have liked to see a Storm kill. That would have been sweet.
Yeah, I think that's also cool too. The fact that this deck can even just be like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill you with Storm on ill-gotten gains in game 1," and then they're like, "Okay, I'm gonna bring in all these anti-Storm cards. You just Leyline Helm." What? So, yeah, I think that's super cool. But yeah, anyway, that's it for round 1 here. We will be back shortly for round 2. Hopefully you'll all stick with us, and then we will see you back in a couple minutes. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.